Ladies and gentlemen, will the congregation please rise?
Sange Gaudeamus igitur juvenestum sumus. Gaudeamus igitur juvenestum sumus. Post jucundam juventutem, post molestam senectutem, nos habebitumus. Nos habebitumus. Vivat Academia, vivat professores, vivat Academia, vivat professores, vivat membrum quodlibet, vivat membrum quodlibet, semper siti flore, semper siti flore. Gosi sigeleli Africa, malupagani supondoloyo, izwa imitana zoyetu. Gosi sigelela tina, lusapolwayo, morena buluka si chabasa Jesu. Ufedi sedintuale manswenye, usibuluke, si chabasa Jesu, si chabasa South Africa, South Africa. Et die blauwvan onze himmel, et die diepte van ons ziel. Ons eeuwige gebergtes, waar die kranse antwoord gee. Sounds the call to come together, and united we shall stand. Let us live and strive for freedom in South Africa.
Please be seated.
The Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work it and take care of it, to work it and take care of it.
Mapadani, ubeba taka kwao. Mapadani, ubeba kwire kwelo. Mapadani, ubeba taka kwao. Mapadani, ubeba kwire kwelo. The Lord God took the man to put him in the Garden of Eden, to work it and take care of it, 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 to work it and take care To work it and take care
City au alala, city alala. City au alala, city alala. Aye, city au alala, city alala, city au. Aye, bo. City alala, city alala, city
Wow, 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 wow.
Another round of applause for our choir, please. Thank you. By virtue of the power vested in me as Chancellor, I hereby constitute this congregation of the University of the Witwatersrand for the conferment of degrees. Sanibonani. Good morning. My name is Judy Dlamini. I'm the Chancellor of Wits University. With me, I have the Vice Chancellor and Principal of the University, Professor Zeblon Vilagazi, Fellow of the Royal Society. We also have the DVC, Professor Lynn Morris. We have all the deans of all the faculties, Dean of Students with me. There's also the Registrar, Carol Crossley, President of Convocation, and the academics who made this possible. I just want to greet especially our graduates, the PhDs, 160 of them, for this cluster of graduations. And I really want to recognize the family that has come from all over to make sure that they are here to witness this. But more importantly, the family that has supported you. It's very special for me today. One of my younger brothers is graduating, and I would like to recognize two of my younger sisters, Mrs. Pilisiwe Mtetwa and Ambassador Pumelele Gwala. Welcome. You know, graduations are such an important milestone at all levels, but graduating with a PhD is just one of those, and you really have to say ow, because it just shows dedication, it shows commitment, it shows passion for knowledge, and more importantly, it shows that you have the power to lead yourself. And for that, we want to congratulate you tenfold. And it matters also where you graduate from. And, right? And I'm happy to say that there are so many accolades that I could say with our alma mater, Wits University. But I'll just say one this time. You know, in 2023 alone, we had about, let me just check to make sure I don't misrepresent, no less than 14 major discoveries and 22 findings that will have a significant impact on social upliftment. And that matters because the way you carry yourselves, the things that you do, have an impact on how this institution is perceived in the world. So far, it's perceived very highly, and I have no doubt that because of you and what you will do with this qualification, it will only rise from where it is. I know we all have different paths. Some of you started from undergrad and all the way up to PhD, but some of you took different routes. Some of you have been in business, some of you in politics, some of you in different spaces within our society. And then you had the commitment, the passion, and the dedication to come back and say, I need more knowledge for me to have the change or be the driver of the change that I want to see in my country and in the world. And as we have so many changes in this country and all over the world, we need you to be those adaptable leaders. We need you to be comfortable with change, especially if the status quo doesn't serve the majority, it doesn't serve the indigent. As leaders, you have an obligation not to look the other way, but to do something that will make it better for everyone. Because when it's better for the least advantaged, it becomes even better for the whole society. And WIT stands for that. It is a true honor to officiate at your graduation. And I would like to venture and say that I do believe that amongst you, we will have Nobel Prize winners to add to the 4 that we have. Congratulations, halala. Today, candidates will be presented for degrees in the Faculty of Commerce, Law and Management, the Faculty of Engineering and the Built Environment, the Faculty of Health Services, the Faculty of Humanities, and the Faculty of Science. I confer degrees on the persons whose names appear in the graduation program.
I call upon the Dean of the Faculty of Commerce, Law and Management, the Dean of the Faculty of Engineering and the Built Environment, the Dean of the Faculty of Health Sciences, the Dean of the Faculty of Humanities, and the Acting Dean of the Faculty of Science to present candidates for degrees.
Madam Chancellor, as Dean of the Faculty of Commerce, Law and Management, I have the honor to present candidates for degrees. For a thesis titled Essay on Agricultural Finance, Financial Development and Economic Growth in Nigeria, and supervised by Dr. Tweneboa, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Ademola Ayodele for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Development Aid, NGOs, and the North-South Divide in Ghana, and supervised by Professor Alagidede, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Gloria Bob Millier for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Essays on Inflation Targeting and Macroeconomic Performance, and supervised by Professor Malikane, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Norbert Butheleze for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Using Complexity to Unlock Emergent Decolonial Development, and supervised by Professor Everett, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Rekhotsofetse Chekane for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Understanding Corporate Social Investments Results Measurement in South Africa, the Case of Three Foundations, and supervised by Professor Moyo and Dr. Fowler. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Ngonizashe Chipato for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Courting and Intervention, Conceptualizing the Judicial Role in Matters Relating to Section 139 of the South African Constitution, and supervised by Professor Pieterse. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Claire Franklin for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Entrepreneurial Marketing Orientation Adoption and Youth Entrepreneurial Performance, Examining the Mediating Factors, and supervised by Professor Saruchera. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Paul Garuo for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Diversity Management in the Ghanaian Health Sector, a case study of the NHIA, and supervised by Dr. Meyer. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Cynthia Inwerigbu for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled The Impact of Technology Innovation on Higher Education Institutions, a case study of a private and public university in Johannesburg, and supervised by Dr. Horn. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present George Iroha for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Dynamic Capabilities in Strategy Formation and Knowledge Conversion in Zimbabwean Organizations, and supervised by Dr. van den Hoeven and Professor Carmichael. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Brian Kagondo for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Examining Antecedents, Mediators, and Moderators of Consumer Behavioral Outcomes of Mobile Banking, and supervised by Professor Saruchera. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Fatani Khoza for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled When Less is More, Tiny Housing as Adequate Housing, and supervised by Professor Pieterse. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Petronelle Kruger for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled The Nexus Between the Digital Divide, Income Inequality and Social Cohesion in South Africa, and supervised by Professor Armstrong. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Ayanda Magida for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Good Corporate Governance in State-Owned Entities in South Africa, Challenges and Compliance, and supervised by Professor Kawadza. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Medi Mokoena for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. for a thesis titled The Relevance of Entrepreneurial Self-Efficacy, Social Networking and the Institutional Environment on Immigrant Entrepreneurship in South Africa, and supervised by Professor Urban. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Mahad Moti for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled The Role of Local Government in Achieving Spatial Equity Through the Realization of the Right to Housing in South Africa, and supervised by Professor Pieterse. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Fungai Mudau for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Redefining Gender Equality in the Formal Mining Industry, a Case of Select Categories of Women in South Africa, and supervised by Professor Albertine. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Priska Mudimba for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Policymaking and Institutional Crisis, Formalizing Artisanal Gold Mining in Zimbabwe, and supervised by Dr. Popiwa. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Tondorai Mukono Weshuro for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled The Ripple Effect of Demographics on the Entrepreneurial Behavior-Performance Relationship in the South African Tech Sector, and supervised by Dr. Murimbika. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Makosazana Ngobo for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Land Rights in Kenya, the Role of Law in Protection Against Forced Evictions, and supervised by Dr. Moyo. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Stephen Njoroge for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Interconnectedness of Global Competitiveness, Logistic Performance, and Global Value Chain in Africa, and supervised by Dr. Tweneboya. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Priscilla Opong for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled The Cognitive Process of Entrepreneurs Seeking Access to External Finance to Drive SMME Growth, and supervised by Dr. Msimango Golawe. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Belinda Ratogwa for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Harnessing Digital Transformation to Build Social Ecological Systems Resilience into Institutional Arrangements of Agricultural Transformation, and supervised by Professor Armstrong and Dr. Zura Rimwe. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Patrick Zuwayo for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy.
Madam Chancellor, as the Dean of the Faculty of Engineering and the Built Environment, I have the honor to present candidates for degrees. For a thesis titled Optimization of the Mineral Grading Wind Sifter Separator for Coal Beneficiation, and supervised by Professor Samson Bada. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Jimmy Joanna Alade for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Urban Compounds, Investigating Aspects of Rapid Urbanization and Densification in Sub-Saharan Africa and the Effect on the Physical Morphology of Selected Suburbs in Johannesburg, and supervised by Professor Paul Jenkins. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Kirsten Dorman for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Determinants of Professional Service Output Quality in the Construction Industry, and supervised by Professor Samuel Loria and Professor Ronald Watermeyer, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Neil Govender for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Port Hamiltonian Modeling of an Integrated Mechanical Ventilator Human Respiratory System, and supervised by Dr. Otis Nyandoro, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Milka Cynthia Madahana for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. How's it? For a thesis titled A Data Science Framework for Mineral Resource Exploration and Estimation Using Remote Sensing and Machine Learning, and supervised by Professor Tegay Chalik and Professor Bekir Genj, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Muhammad Hassan Mahbub for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Intrinsic Valuation of Real Estate Investment Trusts, and supervised by Dr. Tumelano Sibehela, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Tamala Amelia Manda for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Constrained Solutions to Inverse Frobenius-Perron Problems by Finite Dimensional Approximation, and supervised by Professor Michiel van Wyk, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Andre Martin MacDonald for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Modeling the Comminution Process in the Rotary Offset Crusher, and supervised by Professor Mulenga Bwalia and Professor Henry Simonson, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Titus Ngipulile for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Retention of Professional Female Talent Within the Construction Industry, and supervised by Professor Akbekbuna Ozumba, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Nondomiso Zamangwane Sangweni for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Internal Cooling at the Trailing Edge of a High-Pressure Gas Turbine Blade, and supervised by Professor Tong Kim, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Jörg Willem Scheckman for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled A Bottom-Up Smart City Approach to Solid Waste Management, the case of ICT-enabled waste reclaimers system in 2 South African cities, and supervised by Professor Anne Featured. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Vincent Siwawa for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy.
Graduates, colleagues, and guests, I now call upon our musicians to render a musical item.
ithinta kucinga obobuhle sizehlele ingenesi ndithinda kuziva ezozandi uthimangi hlabelele ndingqongqoze hayi ubuhle bezontaba amahlathi nezilwandle imilambe hamba ngesisotha umuhle Mzantsi Afrika. Ndithinda kucinga nomathafa inkanyezi inyanga kanye nelanga uthinda kuziva ezozaka uthimandi hlabelele ndingqongqoze hayi ubuhle bezontaba amahlathi nezilwandle imilambe hamba ngesisotha umuhle Mzantsi Afrika. Unobubele nobuntu uthobekile unobungaka lelizwe lobusi nobisi unamandla unobuchule uthobekile qaqamba kwezindini le-Afrika khaya lam Mzantsi wam. Umuhle Mzantsi Afrika. Umuhle Mzantsi Afrika.
Have you admired its genius, the beauty, the symphony of what is best yet to come for this great university and this great country? A round of applause for our musicians, whom I'll introduce shortly. Our lead vocalist, Lesedi Masela, a student enrolled in the Faculty of Music program here at WITS, honing his vocal artistry under the guidance of the esteemed voice pedagogue Eugene Chopin. Beyond his pursuit of classical writing, Lesedi is a multifaceted and talented individual, venturing into conducting, composing, arranging, and teaching. As a conductor, he has elevated his choir to remarkable heights, captivating audiences that include many esteemed delegates. His passion involves around broadening the reach of African music and weaving its essence into the fabric of opera, as you witnessed a short while ago, and choral realms, an ambition that ignites and propels his creative inputs. He was the piano accompanist is Andrew Duncan, a pianist who completed his bachelor's and honors degree in music and a postgraduate diploma in performance with distinction. A prize winner in numerous national competitions. He's been the winner of the Grahamstown National Music Competition, the James DeFillier Piano Competition, and the recipient of the Robert Andrews Piano Prize. He recently won the Standard Bank Ovation Award at the Makhanda Grahamstown National S Festival. He's acted as a staff pianist at the Gauteng Opera, Rhodes University, and here at Wits. He is currently completing his Masters of Music in Creative Work under studying piano under the supervision of Malcolm Ney and Pauline Nozzle here at Wits. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in a resounding warm of applause for our musicians.
Madam Chancellor, as Dean of the Faculty of Health Sciences, I have the honor to present candidates for degrees. For a thesis titled A Psychosocial Support Program for Caregivers of Children and Developmental Disabilities in Ghana, and supervised by Dr. Annie Nkosi, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Doreen Asantewe Abiasa for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled The Effects of Indigenous South African Plant Extracts on Triple-Negative Breast Cancer Cells, and supervised by Professor Aid Lamini, Dr. R. Hull, and Dr. C. Penny, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Muhammad Alaona for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Association of Genetic Variants with Breast Cancer Intrinsic Subtypes and Splice Variants of the Fibroblast Growth Factor Receptor 2 in a South African Population, and supervised by Associate Professor R. Duarte and Associate Professor T. Augustine, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Therese Dix-Peak for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled An Evaluation of the Postgraduate Family Medicine Decentralized Training Program at the University of the Witwatersrand, South Africa, using the logic model, and supervised by Dr. Azetta George and Professor L. Jenkins, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Nita Jo Romeda for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Salient Beliefs, Preferences, and Intention to Use HIV Pre-Exposure Prophylaxis Among Pregnant and Breastfeeding Women in Zambia, and supervised by Associate Professor J. Igombor, Professor B. Chi, and Professor W. Mutale, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Twambo Hamunga for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Differential Gene Expression in Exfoliation Syndrome and Exfoliation Glaucoma in the Conjunctiva of Black South Africans, and supervised by Associate Professor S. Williams, Professor M. Ramsey, and Dr. T. Kunku, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Michaela Robin Ali for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For the thesis title, Developing a Framework to Improve Glycemic Control Among Patients with Type 2 Diabetes mellitus in Kinshasa, DRC, and supervised by Associate Professor O. Omole and Professor J. Francis, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Jean-Pierre Fina Lubakia for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Community-Orientated Primary Healthcare, Exploring the Interface Between Community Health Workers, the Healthcare System, and Communities in South Africa, and supervised by Professor J. Gouge and Professor F. Griffiths. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Shlolongelo Malachi for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For the thesis titled Development of a Multiplex HIV-TB Point-of-Care Diagnostic Assay based on the microarray technology and supervised by Dr. C. Dobachale, Dr. A. Singh, and Dr. K. Alexandre, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Kanyana Bridget Malachi for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Characterization of Emission and Exposure to Diesel Engine Exhaust from Trackless Mobile Machinery in Underground and supervised by Professor D. Brouwer, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Amukalane Portia Manyeke Mudau for a degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Development of an Anopheles arabianus sex separation strain and optimization of mosquito handling, packaging and transport conditions for the South African Mosquito Sterile Insect Technique Program, and supervised by Dr. G. Munhenga and Professor L. Kukamur, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Thabo Ryan Mashatola for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Medical Students, Professional Identity Formation During a Social Upheaval, a Qualitative Study, and supervised by Dr. A. George, Associate Professor L. Green Thompson, Professor A. Cooper, and Professor T. Wyatt, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Mantua Mokachani for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. for a thesis titled Defining FC-Mediated Functions in People Living with HIV during Respiratory Viral Infection and Vaccination, and supervised by Professor P. Moore and Dr. S. Richardson, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Botomela Madika Motsuneng for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Public Nursing Colleges, Readiness for Integration into the Higher Education Sector in South Africa, using an organizational development framework, and supervised by Professor J. Bruce and Dr. S. Mabizela, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Yukai Patricia Mudzi for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Risk Factors for Caries and Periodontal Disease, a comparative study among HIV-positive and HIV-negative adults in Nyarugenge District, Rwanda, and supervised by Professor V. Yangapo and Professor Y. Molele Kolisa, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Julian Murarehi for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Relationship of Diet and Physical Activity with Genetic Susceptibility to Obesity, a longitudinal analysis in adults in South Africa, and supervised by Dr. T. Chikawore, Dr. Elway, and Professor S. Norris, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Monica Muti for a degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Sepsis-Associated Acute Kidney Injury Biomarker Profile and Outcome, and supervised by Dr. C. Dickens, Professor G. Beggett, and Professor G. Richards, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Morgan Dimakwenda Mawini for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For the thesis titled An In Silico Analysis of the Glycosylation Inhibitors Brafildin A and Tunnimacin C in Colorectal Cancer, Characterization of Novel Targets, and supervised by Dr. C. Penny, Dr. S. Mirza, and Dr. R. Hull, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Vivesh Naidu for a degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Identification of Novel Immune Targets with Potential Roles in the Progression of Pancreatic Ductal Adenocarcinoma, and supervised by Dr. E. Nweke and Associate Professor T. Augustine and Professor G. Kendi, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Zanele Singwane for a degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Children on the Streets of Ibadan, Nigeria, Experiences, Family Dynamics, and Health Status, Mixed Methods Explored Family Dynamics, Lived Experience, Health, and Needs of Children on the Streets, and supervised by Associate Professor S. Musa, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Abimbola Margaret Obimakandi for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Sedentary Behavior in a Sample of South African Office-Based Workers, and supervised by Associate Professor P. Gredich, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Merling Faswana for a degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Adolescent Health in Rural South Africa, Building an Evidence Base to Inform a Health Promotion Intervention Supporting Healthier Lifestyles, and supervised by Professor K. Khan and Dr. R. Wegner, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Shakhofatso Martha Siabi for a degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Exploring the Relationship Between Orphanhood Status, Living Arrangements, and Sexual and Reproductive Health Outcomes Among Female Adolescents in Southern Africa, and supervised by Professor K. Khan and Dr. C. Ginsberg, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Mercy Shoko for a degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled A Framework for Integrating Simulation into the Bachelor of Nursing Science Program in Eswatini, and supervised by Dr. S. Armstrong and Dr. C. Tooling, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Sitembile Sipiwe Shongwe for a degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Developing Strategies for Alleviating Caregiver Burden Among Informal Caregivers of Persons with Severe Mental Disorders in Bushbuck Ridge in Mpumalanga Province, and supervised by Dr. N. Nkosi and Dr. F. Adams, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Olinda Mokonto Silole for a degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Attrition in the Dental Therapy Profession, an exploration of the contributing factors and solutions, and supervised by Dr. S. Jowett Nyaut, Professor M. Yamutandani, and Professor V. Yangapo, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Pumla Pamela Sodo for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis title, Contextually Responsive Support and Development Strategies for Generalist Occupational Therapists Delivering Hand Injury Care in South Africa, and supervised by Professor L. O'Brien, Dr. T. Raj van der Merwe, and Professor H. Mayezwa, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Kirsty van Stoombroek for a degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Gene Expression Patterns of Signaling Pathways in PDAC Toward Inhibiting Metastasis, and supervised by Dr. E. Nweke, Professor G. Kendi, and Associate Professor T. Augustine, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Tombinkayese Henrietta Marsha Selwa for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled An Ethical Legal Analysis of broad consent for biobank research in South Africa toward an enabling framework, and supervised by Dr. G. Gardner and Professor S. Mohammed, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Matombi Rebecca Masema for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy.
Madam Chancellor, As Dean of the Faculty of Humanities, I have the honor to present candidates for degrees. For a thesis titled Food Sovereignty and the Agrarian Question in South Africa, Class Dynamics and Collective Agency from Below, supervised by Professor Michelle Williams. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Andrew Govan Benny for the degree of philosophy, Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Women and Emancipatory Politics in the former Leboa Bantustan of South Africa, 1947 to the present, supervised by Professor Niftahudian and Dr. Ariana Lisoni. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Sarah Lynn Brackhausen for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Effectiveness of Blended Teaching on Learning Engagement and Academic Achievement in Organic Chemistry, a case study of South Africa grade 12 learners supervised by Dr. E. Nakedi and Professor Rita Kizito. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Josephine Munyaradzi Chakawoza for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Madam Chancellor, for a thesis titled Riding Out of the Water and the Making of a Writer, Kiurapetse Kositsile through the lens of adoption, supervised by Professor Ari Sitas and Associate Professor Bronwyn Law-Felyun. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Philippa Ya de Villiers for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled An Analysis of Domain-Specific Terminology for Pedagogical Lexicography Resources towards a comprehensive English isiZulu Life Sciences Dictionary. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Selimpilo Paeti Dladla for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled YouTube Video Commercialization. Oh, sorry. I apologize. There are two Laminis, so sorry. For a thesis titled Newsroom Culture and Journalistic Practice at the South African Broadcasting Corporation, an ethnographic study, supervised by Professor Chiumbu. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Tula Dlamini for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled An Exploration of Business Studies Teaches Integration of Information and Communication Technologies to Equip Grade 12 Learners with Critical Business Skills, supervised by Dr. N. Lovu. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Nduduzo Brian Kabashe for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Technical and Vocational Education and Training, TVET, Mathematics Teachers Professional Noticing of Students' Productive Struggle in Calculus Tasks, supervised by Professor Judah Makonye. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Machwene William Shako for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Oh, sure. All right. For a thesis titled Quitoscapes, Reading the Historiographic Narratives in the Visual Cultures of Black Youth, supervised by the late Professor Becky Peterson, Dr. K. Mukize, and Associate Professor David Andrew. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Mpapo Christian Sasane for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Invisibility of Women's Voices, Choices, and Opinions in African Traditional Marriages, a case study of the Swati people in Kanyamazane, supervised by Professor Zungu. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Nkateko Hlope for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled A Study of African and Western Epistemic Intuitions and Implications for Decolonization, supervised by Professor Edwin Etiebo. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Nolwandle Ayanda Lembete for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Water Grabbing, Water Struggles over the Water Regulation of the Water Use Licenses of Coal Mines in Delmas, South Africa, supervised by Dr. A. Wafa and Professor S. Munwana. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Lesejo Lester Loate for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Family-Centered EHDI Services, Caregivers' Experience and Evaluation of the Process and Practices in the South African Context, supervised by Professor Koza Shangase and Professor Amisha Kanji. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Ntsako Precious Maluleke for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Paradise Fallen, Xeno-Epistemic Stopgap Notes on Site Specificity, supervised by Associate Professor David Andrew. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Zen Murray for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Exploring Early Stage Digital Transformation in Secondary Mathematics Education, supervised by Dr. Lucy Abrams. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Songezo Mata for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled The Experience of Attempting to Become a Present Father, Perspectives of Absent Black South African Fathers, supervised by Professor Catherine Bain. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Hopolang Nete Moipone Mati for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Family-Based Adverse Childhood Experiences as a Determinant of Learner Drug Abuse in Soweto High Schools, Implications for Early Intervention, supervised by Dr. P. Aloka. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Nzukiso Theophilus Minyamana for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Black Parents and Caregivers' Perceptions and Decision-Making Regarding an Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder Diagnosis, Implications for Intervention Pursuits, supervised by Dr. M. Hara and Dr. M. Matebula. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Beatrice Moyo for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Ukusetshenziswa kokuxutshwa kwezilimi kusuka esiNgisini kuyiwa esiZulwini emagunjini okufundela anabafundi abakhuluma izilimi ezehlukene ezikoleni zaKwaZulu-Natal. Supervised by Professor Sipho Ntombela. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Sindisiwe Cynthia Musani for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Shifts, Changes and Continuities in Heritage Commemoration and Memorialization of the 21st March 1960 Sharpeville Massacre, 1960 to 2010, supervised by Professor Sekibakiba Lekwati. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Maihomola Joseph Mwaketsi for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Contraceptive Use, Transition and Fertility Dynamics and Reproductive Health Outcomes in Zambia, supervised by Professor Clifford Odumegu. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Million Piri for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Self-Representations of Cultural Identity in South African Indian Filmmaking, 2004 to 2017, supervised by Dr. Hasina Ibrahim. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Timara Prem for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled An Exploration of Life and Career Narratives of Black Senior Managers, the Storied Habitus of Career Navigation, supervised by Professor Hugo Canham. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Refilwe Moti Ramodibe for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled The Role of the Fictional Biographer in the Aspen Papers by Henry James, Summertime by J.M. Coetzee, Absolution by Patrick Flannery, The Biographer's Tale, and Possession by A.S. Beat, supervised by Dr. Van Wyk. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Charmaine Henrietta Sandness for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Social Work Role and Interventions During Climate Change-Related Disasters in Zimbabwe, supervised by Dr. K. Mashego and Dr. N. Dube. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Molly Shayamano for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Researching Graduate Employability and Graduate Employability Skills of Non-Traditional Graduates in Nigeria, supervised by Professor Emmanuel Ojo and Professor Hutton. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Mojisola Sodienda for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. I'm not seeing. It's Corey. Oh, this one, this enemy. Yeah, good. Thank you. For a thesis titled Decriminalizing Sex Work, the Politics of Policy Making in South Africa, 1994 to 2019, supervised by Dr. Sipiwe Dube. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Corey Sarana Spengler Gathacole for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Intersecting Epidemics, the Implications of COVID-19 in the Utilization of HIV Treatment Services among people living with HIV on antiretroviral treatment in Zimbabwe, supervised by Professor Clifford Odumegu. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Talent Tapera for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled In Search of Utopia, Sylvia Pankhurst, Ethel Manning, Nancy Cunard, and international socialist women authors in interwar Britain, supervised by Dr. C. Gordon and Dr. S. Kostalak. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Kerry Leigh Timlin for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled The Conceptualization of Teacher Professional Knowledge for Enabling Digital Pedagogical Transformation of Content Using Animations for the topic of electromagnetism, supervised by Professor M. Mavunga. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Denise van der Merwe for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled The Heart Experience, a study of poetry and piety in Methodist hymnody in the 18th century in Britain, supervised by Professor Victor Holliston. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Star Lien Worcester for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Migration, Motherhood and Subjective Well-Being, Experiences of Transnational Mothers in Johannesburg, supervised by Professor Joe Very and Dr. Rebecca Walker. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Tulisile Zikali for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Using Mnemonic and Sublexic Reinforcement Techniques to Enhance Reading Abilities Among Grade 3 Learners with Dyslexia in Primary Schools in Mpumalanga, Analysis of Age and Gender Differences, supervised by Dr. P. Aloka. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Lillian Zindoga for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy.
Madam Chancellor, as Acting Dean of the Faculty of Science, I have the honor to present candidates for degrees. For a thesis titled The Effects of Concurrent Extreme Temperature and Water Deficit on the Phytochemical Profile and Phytopharmacological Activities of Portulacaria afra-Jacques, and supervised by Dr. I. Rizenga. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Funbi Christiana Adeleye for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Investigating Telomere Dynamics Using Standard and Gold Nanoparticle Analysis and Developing an LRP-based nanoparticle drug, and supervised by Professor S. Weiss and Dr. E. van der Merwe, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Martin Bernard for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled The Value of Large Trees and Their Protection Where Elephants and Trees Coexist, and supervised by Professor E. Witkowski and Dr. M. Henley, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Robin Michael Cook for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Moving Towards Landscape Initiatives, an analysis of environmental frameworks, protected areas, and community perspectives in the Vembe District, Limpopo Province, South Africa, and supervised by Professor M. Evans. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Alexandra Bell Mendez Dalziel for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Constraints on the Genesis of Orbicular Granites and Sulfide Mineralizations in the Koperberg Suite, South Africa, and the Diana's Pool area, Zimbabwe, and supervised by Professor G. Bybee and Professor P. Nex. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Senamile Siyaya Dumisa for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Shooting at a Moving Target and supervised by Professor M.D. Simatele, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Siakola Ernest Gadu for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Optimization in Gallium Oxide Nanomaterials for Gas Sensing Applications and supervised by Professor O.M. Nitwaborwa, Associate Professor R. Erasmus, Professor N. Moloto, and Professor G. Mshlongo. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Nyapudzai Shazleen Gatsi for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled A Symmetry Perspective on Third Order Polynomial Evolution Equations and supervised by Associate Professor S. Jamal, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Bongo Musa Gwaka for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For the thesis titled Assessing Livelihood Vulnerability and Adaptation to Climate Variability and Change Among Farming Households in Plateau States, North Central Nigeria, Madam Chancellor, and supervised by Professor J. Knight, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Buhari Arin Hassan for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled An Essential Variable Approach for Integrated Social Ecological Systems Monitoring to Determine Sustainability in a South African Catchment, and supervised by Professor M. Scholes, Dr. J. Clifford Holmes, and Dr. K. Kutzer, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Adla Itzken. For a thesis titled Perspectives on the Role of Stakeholder Engagement and Participation in River Basin Management in South Africa, a study of the Henops River, and supervised by Professor M.D. Simatele, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Lucian Nicholas James for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Elucidating right? Elucidating structure-function relationships of Enterococcus faecium nicotinate nucleotide adenylyl transferase through X-ray crystallography, computational modeling, and binding studies, and supervised by Associate Professor I. Anchilono and Dr. R. Pandian. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Olamide Adetomi JJ for the degree Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Transcrustal and Temporal Perspectives on Paleoproterozoic Porphyry Copper Deposit Formation, Habe Deposit, Namibia, and supervised by Professor G. Bybee and Professor L. Robb. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Bibi Ayesha Yogi for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled A GIS Framework for the Integrated Conceptualization, Analysis and Visualization of Gauteng's Complex Historic and Contemporary Post-Mining Urban Landscape, and supervised by Associate Professor E. A. Esterhuizen, Dr. C. Kelso, and Dr. L. Naidu. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Samkelesiwe Ntanduyenkosi Kanyile for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Transfer Reactions to Populate the Pygmy Dipole Resonance of Molybdenum-96, and supervised by Dr. L. Pellegri and Dr. M. Wiedeking, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Tutukile Charmaine Kumalu for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Co-Management Implementation in Protected Areas, a study of the Silaka Nature Reserve Wild Coast in the Eastern Cape Province, South Africa, and supervised by Professor M.D. Simatele and Dr. T. Mokochumela. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Zwabantu Richard Kostauli for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Design and Synthesis of Chronic Wound Healing Collagen Peptide Mimics, and supervised by Dr. M. Makatini, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Ntlama Francis Lesotho for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Tracing Multiple Aquatic Ecosystem Stressors Across a Land Use Intensification Gradient, a Multi-Tooled Environmental Forensic Approach, and supervised by Associate Professor D. Woodford and Professor C. Curtis, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Jonathan Chaim Levine for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Understanding Disturbance, Vegetation Density, Seed Banks, and Pollination for the Conservation of Protea curvata, and supervised by Professor K. Balkwell, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Precious Guguletu Babalwa Mabuza for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled 3D seismic constraints on the stratostructural evolution of the Deepwater Orange Basin, South Africa, and supervised by Dr. Z. Jinnah and Professor M. Manzi. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Nombuso Gladys Maduna for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Development of Eco-Friendly Building Bricks Derived from Carbon Nanotube Reinforced Coal Ash and Low-Density Polyethylene Waste Materials, and supervised by Dr. M. Maubane Nkadimeng and Professor N. Koval. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Boitumelo Makgabuklane. For a thesis titled Chromatic Polynomials in Certain Classes of Graphs and supervised by Professor E. Mpakubanda. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Lesiba Joseph Mapakela for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Quantitative Analysis of Gold in Low-Grade Tailings from Different Matrices, coupled with a study into the associated uncertainties, and supervised by Professor L. Chimuka and Dr. J. Chilongo. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Kedibone Nicoline Mashale for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled A Phenotype Prediction Framework for Classifying Colorectal Cancer Patients' Response to Folfox Treatments, an Integrated Approach, and supervised by Professor M. Kaur. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Lebogang Happy Mashatola for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Fast Oxide Ion Conductors for Solid Oxide Fuel Cells, Average and Local Structure, Property Correlations in Solid Solutions of Bismuth Oxide, and supervised by Professor D. Billing and Associate Professor C. Billing. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Sikumbuzu Mfanawempi Masina for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Compost-Assisted Phytoremediation of Gold Mine Tailings and Tailing Footprints using Chrysopogon zizanioides L. Roberts, enhanced with moringa leaf extract biostimulant in the Witwatersrand, South Africa, a multidisciplinary approach, and supervised by Professor M.D. Simatele and Professor L. Chimuka. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Nkanyisu Mlalazi for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Regularized Deep Neural Network for Post-Authorship Attribution and supervised by Professor T. Selek and Professor V. Marivate. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Abiodun Madupe for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Reassessing the Stratigraphy and Formation of the Basal Deposits at Klaasies River Main Site with a Multi-Scale and Multi-Proxy Approach, and supervised by Professor S. Wurtz and Dr. S. Mentzer, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Peter Morrissey for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Search for New Resonances in the 4-lepton Channel and Implementation of the LED Integrator Panel for the Prometeo System in the Atlas Tile Calorimeter, and supervised by Professor B. Milado and Dr. M. Kumar, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Onesimo Ntinsilana for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Mapping and Assessment of Informal Settlements Using Object-Based Image Analysis, a case study of Mamelodi, Tshwane, South Africa, and supervised by Professor P. Mangara, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Naledzani Mudau for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Utilizing Legacy Seismics and Non-Seismic Geophysical Methods for Deep Mineral Targeting and Near-Surface Characterization, Implementations for Mine Development Planning, and supervised by Professor M. Manzi and Dr. M. Westgate, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Ndamulelu Muchafa for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled The Design, Synthesis and Structure Activity Relationship of Antitubercular Lysomycin Derivatives, and supervised by Dr. M. Makatini, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Ntombizanele Kinyayo for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Structural Characterization of Bimetal Phosphate-Based Solid-State Electrolytes, a PXRD, PDF, and XAS study, and supervised by Professor D. Billing, Associate Professor C. Billing, and Dr. R. Forbes, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Guguletu Charmaine Nkala for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Social Vulnerability in the Adaptation of Rural Communities to Climate Change in Imo State, Nigeria, and supervised by Professor J. Knight, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Franklin Chimobi Okoro for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Effects and Consequences of Natural and Artificial Light at Night on Small Mammals in Peri-Urban Johannesburg, South Africa, and supervised by Professor N. Pillay, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Tasha Wisthuizen for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Synthesis, Characterization, and Investigation of the Mode of Action in the Anti-Cancer Activity of a Novel Platinum Complex, plural, complexes, and supervised by Dr. I. Kotze and Dr. L. Harmse. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Tebogo Piga for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Investigating FOXP2 Dynamics, Stability and DNA Binding Capabilities, and supervised by Dr. S. Fanuki, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Carden Maria Perumal for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Solar Cell Defect Detection, Deep Learning Models for Defect Detection in Electroluminescence Imagery of Solar Photovoltaic Modules, and supervised by Associate Professor R. Klein, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Lawrence Pratt for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Innovative Surface, Tunnel and In-Pit Geophysical Methods for Mineral Exploration and Mine Planning, Case Studies from the Bushveld Complex Mines, South Africa, and supervised by Professor M. Manzi and Dr. M. Westgate, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Mayograbu Kenneth Rapetsoa for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled From Coal to Renewable Energy, Perspectives on South Africa's Energy Transition for a Sustainable Future, and supervised by Professor M.D. Simatele, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Temperance Sebele for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled The Role of Climate Change Governance in Community Adaptation in KwaZulu-Natal, a study of Umkanyakundu District Municipality, and supervised by Professor M.D. Simatele, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Nomfundo Patricia Sibia for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Cost-Effective and Novel Seismic Methods for Mineral and Coal Exploration, Examples from Witwatersrand Goldfields and Bushveld Complex, and supervised by Professor M. Manzi and Dr. M. Westgate, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Mpofana Sioyiya for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled Computational Modeling Approaches to Validate the Druggability of the 26 and 28 kDa schizosoma glutathione transferase enzymes using bromosulfoethylene as a benchmark ligand, and supervised by Associate Professor I. Anchilono, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Akil Vali for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. For a thesis titled The 19th Century Matabele Settlements of the South African Highveld, and supervised by Professor K. Sader, Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present Renier Hendrik van der Merwe for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy.
I now call. Sorry, please, ma'am. I now call upon the President of Convocation to say a few words for our graduates.
Good morning, Madam Chancellor, Vice Chancellor, honored guests, members of our esteemed senior executive team and academic staff, and a special welcome to our graduates. My name is Komotso Mufamadi, and I join you today as President of Wits University Convocation Executive. Graduates, there are a few defining moments in life, and it is without a doubt that a PhD graduation is one of them. You are now a PhD graduate from one of the top universities on the African continent. You enter into a world filled with many challenges, but a world that is also filled with limitless possibilities. At WITS, we hope you meet all the challenges and opportunities that await you with pride, drive, passion, innovation, social conscience, and positive purpose. While some of you are first-time graduates of this university and others have already obtained degrees from WITS, this PhD cohort are united forever in association with a special group of individuals, the Convocation of WITS University. Convocation represents all the degreed graduates of WITS and forms a vital link between the university and its global community. Membership to Convocation is free and serves as an official channel, allowing you, the members, to convey to the university management your views about the university. This membership comes with several unique privileges, not challenges, which include nominating the Chancellor of the university. The Convocation Executive has 2 members on the WITS Council, the governing body of the university, and maintains other regular contact with the university to ensure the voice of Convocation is represented at the highest levels of WITS. There are above 210,000 WITS alumni worldwide. And the distinction of our university is important to the prestige of our collective qualifications. Therefore, we call upon you to nurture and enhance the value of your degree by promoting WITS's image, preserving our values, and contributing towards our ongoing development, ensuring that we grow in stature as a globally competitive, proudly South African institution of higher learning. Now, whilst we certainly focus today's attention on our newest grads, it's also fitting to recognize those who have helped our grads through their academic career. Many of you have been supported financially, and it is likely that all of you have been supported with a great deal of encouragement. Graduates, in your hands you hold the great gift of education. Please stand. Lift your scrolls into the air and take the opportunity to say thank you to your loved ones. Before you sit, don't sit down. In front of you sit the academic staff that guided you through your journey at WITS. Please remain standing and let's take the opportunity to extend thanks to the WITS academic staff. Okay, now you can sit down. As you arrived today, you would have received a graduate exit survey. Please ensure that you complete it and provide us with your updated email details so we can remain in contact with you. This survey will take about 5 minutes to complete and it will assist you in informing university policies and plans. We look forward to checking out all your social media posts to see how you're celebrating your graduation. please use the hashtag #VITSI4Life. Please remain in contact with us, follow us on major social media platforms, and join us for discussions, debates, and updates on LinkedIn. Wishing you the very best of luck in your future endeavors. We hope you make us proud, and whatever you do, just remember, you got your edge at WITS.
Thank you, President Khomotso. Graduates, colleagues, and guests, this concludes the proceedings for today. And now, by virtue of the power vested in me as Chancellor, I hereby dissolve this congregation of the University of the Witwatersrand. Hala, hala. Please rise.
Sagiti,